Rather him speak great revelation from the Bible that illuminates how spiritual I am or something like that. But I have noticed over the years he does not do the attaboy very often. And you may get an attaboy once in a year. It's great, you know. I was telling my bride, if you encouraged me more, I would be a better husband. And she said, that is the wrong answer, sir. So don't tell your bride that. Learn from this man. It's not a good thing to say. Mm. So I, I did listen to the message from last week. I was at work and I was listening, and I enjoy just hearing anything. If I'm not here, I'm trying to listen where I'm at because I need it. I need the word. I need the fellowship. I need that direction, more or less. Because I don't know about y'all, but you really can get going the wrong direction as a born again, spirit filled Christian. It's kind of strange. I know it's kind of weird, but you can just get going the wrong direction. Not that you're going out to the Phoenix or anything, but your mind is not focused on what the believers that you're in community with are focused on. So um, when I listen, I'm like, oh wow, this is okay. This is what they're talking about. This is the same thing, very close, but it's still very revelatory to walking in the Spirit, or you know, it's amazing how long you can talk about that and it still be on point. Because that's our battle. That is our whole battle in the earth, right? No matter what age you are, you could be 5, you could be 500, whatever. That is going to be what we're talking about. The one thing that he said that really offended me, and I try to lean in on the things that offend me. I used to say, hey, if that offends me, it's probably not the Lord. I figured out if it offends me, it's definitely the Lord, 100%. And he doesn't. I don't have to ask for confirmation. He confirms it over and over, and offends me more. So he said in 2025 there will be things, habits, whatever the case may be, that the Lord will put His finger on that you won't be able to go with into 25. And I said, well, why not? There are things I like to do. Dave likes music, and I like music. Believe it or not, I like all kinds of music. And for whatever reason, music is an influencer, major, like major. I remember a long time ago, I had just gotten born again, not very long, and a friend of mine I was with, he lived in jail for a long time, and he used to be a really bad guy, and he became a really soft guy. And we were listening to some kind of like Christian rap, which I am really deep into the rap. That's not a good place for me to be. And I was driving, and he was like, "You are far too into that." And it wasn't that he said it; it was that music was influencing me, even though it was Christian rap and it was good. I have a bad history with rap. I just do, because the rap music I listened to, I did what they said. They were my master. I was their slave. When they said put the gun out the window, that's what I was doing, hanging the gun out the window. And so I just can't listen to that. That doesn't bring me. It doesn't bring me closer to the Lord. So I've had to have some talk with the Lord about music, and I don't. It's not about the Christian rap anymore. It's just stuff that He has put His finger on that I like to listen to. So I don't remember what song it was, but you can't take that into next year. There's some songs I can't take into next year.
Yeah, small prayer. I had a dream. I've told some of you. I had a dream where I saw Mick Jagger in front of me, and I wanted to ask him because they don't make any qualms about it. They're satanic. I wanted to ask him, if you know Satan, you know the Lord. Why do you worship Satan? So I went to ask him, and his mouth got this big. It was just like this is war. I couldn't understand him. And the next thing I know, we're in bed together, not homosexually, but we're in bed. looking at all these pretty women, seeing who could hook up with these women. And I woke up.
Hmm.
So I asked Brad, what's the dream? And he goes, you can't listen to that kind of music anymore.
Yeah.
It's that simple. So I stopped listening to it, and I've been listening to other, a lot of other stuff, but not that. But one day I was actually listening to like Baptist gospel music, the Bill Gaither
Yeah.
stuff, but I thought, man, I'm tired of this. I'll just listen to this Chris Stapleton station,
Yeah.
a minute. I turn it over to the Chris Stapleton station, and it's the Rolling Stones' "Sympathy for the Devil."
Oh my God.
I'm like, well, back to channel 150.
I know. And honestly, it gets so mundane. I even this morning driving here, he was like, John, the closer you get to me, the tighter your life is going to get. And that drives me nuts because I used to be religious, like die hard, like you watch the rated R movie, you're going to, like when I got born again, I got like born again. I went from like hanging out with the devil to like, I am like the Pharisee of the Pharisees of the Pharisee, and so like there's somewhere in between that place and you have to find it. So sometimes if the radio is just if the radio is distracting me, the Lord told me this. He said, you can just turn it off and talk to me. And I don't want to do that. So I said, okay, yes, sir. So I did, because I know in my head, I know he's going to put his finger on something, but it's out of love. It's to further my relationship with him. And really, it's not even about me. It's about him bringing people into my life so they can teach me and I can teach them.
And not only that, John, he's not taking these things away from us.
Right.
He wants a relationship with us.
And he wants it all.
He can't have that relationship.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's, just beating you up and telling you to quit for your good.
Right.
He wants it.
Right. Yeah. He wants more areas in here.
He wants all of you.
All of it. Yeah. Yeah. So, I had a dream it's about a week ago, and this was a really wonderful dream. I have a dream a lot. Y'all probably have a lot of dreams too. I didn't ask for dreams, honestly. Years ago, I was smoking cigarettes really bad. I'd smoked cigarettes for like almost 18 years. And the Lord said, John, if you'll give me that nicotine, I'll give you dreams about the future. And I didn't know what that meant. I couldn't even spell prophecy. I just knew what Marlboro Light was, I'm just going to tell you. And I said, all right, well, we'll try it out. I'm about done with this here pack. So I tried it out. And, man, he started giving me dreams. He told me that I would marry Christine. He told me multiple times. And so I began to tell my leadership, hey, this is what he's saying. And they said, I'll tell you this. If it's the Lord, it'll happen. If it's your desire in your heart, it won't. And I had to wait almost a little over 2 years before I could even date her. Drove me crazy. I wanted to give the dreams back up and get the cigarettes, But the dream that I had, there was several of us in this room, and we were praying together. And it was, I don't know, it was awesome. It was just wonderful. The spirit that was in the room, the Lord was there. That's all we wanted. We were bored with everything else. I'm just going to be honest. We were bored, and we wanted the Lord, and we just prayed together. And I think there was like 5 of us. So when Dave was like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people out, I was like, yes, this is great. It's just a few of us. Let's go, because the Lord doesn't care. He's not like, well, I'm not showing up there. That party ain't big enough. He just wants to hang out and he wants to party. And I love that because I like to party. So as we were praying together, I don't even really know how to explain, but there was no limits. There was no judgment. It was just, if you felt like you want to raise your hands, if you wanted to get down on your knees and cry your eyeballs out, whatever the case was, that was it. You go for it. And the only way I could explain it is heaven came into this room. And I was like, wow, is this as simple as it is? Like, this all we got to do is just get together, and because we get together, and I like that. So I wonder if that's happening the whole time we're just hanging out. But at the very least, when we pray together, that really does, it joins us together in another way. Like me not listening to certain music, that joins me and the Lord together in another way. So that could be what he's after. Maybe in my life, as you know, because when I'm at work, I'm sweeping or having to clean a toilet or something, that sounds exciting. I try to pray because I'm like, this is not exciting right here. Cleaning up after about a bunch of grown men, right? Got to do it, But when I'm praying, I'm like, this is great. This is awesome. They're like, you're the only guy we know that smiles after they're cleaning their toilet. What's the deal, Man, hey, listen. We can do whatever we want. When I'm blowing the leaves off, do y'all blow your leaves off? I feel like the Lord waits till the battery runs down when he starts talking to me, because I'm supposed to start cussing, pulling that thing off. The battery done ran out. So this is like a parted message, I will say. But really, I just compiled what I'd been hearing the Lord say, because to me, that's it. That's the only thing that matters to me is what he's saying. And if it bears witness to you, that's even better. I hope that it pours fuel on the fire. If you're hearing the same thing, what's weird is I've talked to some of the guys at the fire station. I just test them out, not being ugly. I just see if they're hearing from the Lord and they don't know it. I'll just start talking about something. And if they're like, yeah, man, I've kind of been thinking the same thing. And they don't realize that's the Lord in their knocker, or maybe they just get stuck working with me. But he's been talking to me about listen and obey. And I know that's elementary, but I'm an elementary guy. Listen and obey. This is what he told me the other day. He said, the reason that we don't listen is we discredit the voice that the information is coming from, or we don't like it, or it doesn't follow our agenda. I've had some people tell me some stuff, and I all three of them were correct. I discredited the person, because I was like, well, they probably don't know the Lord, so they probably didn't hear that from the Lord. But I've had it happen so many times. So even people that are absolute strangers walk up to me and talk to me about something, and I don't even know who they are. I had a guy in Walmart when we went Black Friday shopping. He walked up to me like he was my uncle. I'd never seen, my kids were like, who is that? I have no clue. I don't even know him, and I get nervous when I go to Walmart, because you kind of see people that you probably seen before and you hoped you'd never see again. And there they are. Hey. So I think when we hear something, whether it be something we like, something we don't like, usually I try, and if I don't like it, I'm like, that's probably the Lord, because it is really making me mad. I was about to say another word, but it's really making me mad, and I'm like, okay, that's the Lord. He's grinding on me. He's shaving. He's trying to mold me. He's trying to keep me from getting in a place where I'm unteachable. Does that make sense? I think there's this really teachable, humble place and this really high spiritual, religious place. And we're always trying to stay in the middle of them. I feel like I got really loud. Are my ears not big enough? They should hang pretty good. All right. The Lord always warns us, gives us revelation, information, and instruction. Would you guys agree? The warnings, I just don't do so good with the warnings. But when it comes around the second or third time, okay, all right. Yeah, this is probably him. My fear is that when we hear, that we don't listen, and then it really dulls our senses and we get deceived. Does that make sense? Honestly, if you think about it, if you were to go through this church's sermons for the past 6 months. To me, I don't listen to any other teachings. I just don't. I mean, the whole battle that we deal with are flesh and spirit. And we're being taught by either Pastor David, Pastor Brad, Bill, Mickey, whoever, Jack. That's the whole thing. And the teachings are unbelievable, but we can get so dull because we hear a word every week. You know, it's kind of hard. Like me and my friend years ago were talking, man, if we didn't go to church anymore, we've literally sat through probably 7,000 sermons. Like, we've had more revelation, we've had more teaching than most people in other countries will ever hear, you know. And they may just focus on the love of God for 40 years because that's all they don't know anything else. So it's really hard when you hear a lot of, you know, sermons every week to, you know, you kind of be dull. Oh, well, I heard that last week and I'm good. And I'm just being real. And so I tell myself, hey, you're not good. Stop that. Don't be complacent. You know, so I fight that. And even in my job, oh yeah, we know what fire this is. Yeah, we're good. That sucker will kill you, you know, and so that's what kills firemen is complacency. So in the same thing, what kills us being close to the Lord and loving him with all we got is complacency. So yeah, you already know. I already know. You don't. Yep. Yeah, and I can't say that part either, but I was going to say something else. But you probably, if you assume it's going to make an example, does that make sense? Right. All right. My wife's watching. Yeah, she does. Yeah, I wish she would. She will when I get home. You know, I don't know. Willingly or unwillingly? I can tell what time it is, you know. I can tell if I'm in trouble and we're going to be talking a lot or not, you know. The bad thing about me is I don't shut up. So she's like, you just don't know when to shut up. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, because I'm thinking in my mind I'm making it better, but you're just, you know, you went from like a shovel to like an excavator, right? And you're just really digging down there. Yeah. There is, see there? So I always assume, and I know this is bad, I always assume that people are going to disappoint me or not do what I think they should do. Is that a good assumption? Right? So, and then the other thing, I always assume that I'm wrong. That's hard. That's a hard one because it makes my pride wrestle. But if I assume that I'm wrong, it works against me and it works for me. You know, like in conflict resolution, it doesn't work that great because I'll always say, oh, well, I already know where this is going. I'm wrong. See? And so it kind of throws a victim card out there. But it does help me to tell Christine, hey, I probably didn't communicate correctly. And, you know, this is probably what led to this. And if it doesn't, and she's like, no, you communicated, I'm like, wow, this is great. I assumed that I was the one in the wrong, you know? So that kind of helps too. But I've just tried to turn the light on myself ever since I got born again because I lived so long blaming my dad for all my addictions and all my destruction. I blamed him. And when I interviewed him years ago, when I wrote that first book, I interviewed him and just to see what he was going to say. And I said, hey man, why did you like abandon me? Like, and you ghosted me, man, for like 20 years. Like I was living in your house and you were living on the other end. You would go to work, you would come home and watch TV. What was valuable to you was the TV. I wasn't valuable. I was acting out because I needed you. And, you know, now a gangbanger had to teach me how to shave. You couldn't even do that, you know? And he said, John, I didn't know what to do. and I didn't do anything. And my dad, he never really did anything with me. And so I just repeated what was done to me, and it let him off the hook. Like I felt bad. I felt like a whole life that I had lived was for nothing because I blamed him, right? Well, he blamed his dad. It was a blame game, right? And nobody won. Nobody won that game. You know, his life and my life were both affected. But we've had a pretty decent relationship after that. Like, it's not his fault. I had my own choice. I had a free will. Doesn't matter, you know? So,
That's the message that I think is so freeing. We were just talking about that same thing on the way home, having conversation with family over the holidays where I did the same thing. I blamed my mom, and my dad, and it is so powerless. As long as you remain a victim to someone else's
Right.
choices, you have no freedom
nothing.
to move on. And like that's, I went to school for psychology, and that's what they're teaching. Like
Yep.
it is, and our whole culture is so like self-victimized. Like I'm seeing all these people, healing your childhood trauma because of your parents, and
Yeah.
and yes, there's an element that might be true.
Yeah.
But really, it's not true.
It's not.
The point of Jesus, because it keeps us in that victim thing.
Right.
The moment like now I look back at my mom and I'm like, I see no flaws because I know she did what she needed to do.
Yep.
She needed to do it, and I knew, she loved me. Or like my dad and his, inability to love me was still love because
Right.
whatever, that was all that he knew.
That's all he knew. Yeah.
And so it's like coming out of that. Yeah, we have a choice.
We have a choice.
No matter what happened then,
Yeah.
we have a choice today to choose freedom.
Yeah.
Or to allow someone else to rule our life as and choose to put ourselves as a slave.
Yeah. And just like you're saying, I went to this like little men's conference thing, and I'm not a conference guy. I'm just not. I'm like, this is silly. They were like, you should come. It's really awesome. I was like, I can have that same powerful experience in my house. I'm just not into that. I'm just not a chaser like that. Well, I went because I really went to prove them wrong that it was going to be stupid. And I'm sorry. If you're ever watching, sorry, it worked. So I went, and I was so mad. I was like, this is ridiculous. This is church in the woods. Wow, this is awesome, Well, this guy walks up to me. He's like, you got unforgiveness towards your dad. And I was like, well, can't say that. I said, I don't have any forgiveness towards him. I hate him. Boom, you're wrong, sucker. I got you, And he said, I'll tell you what. I'm going to stand right here, and you tell me what you would tell him if he was standing here. And I probably made some people leave that room because of the things that I said, because I was mad. I was ready to fight. At least fight me. If you're going to ghost me, let's fight. So I hollered and cussed and railed, and then I broke, right? And so I went home and I sat my dad down. It was like 9:00 at night. I called my parents. Hey, I'm coming over. I need to talk to Dad. Y'all sit in the living room. See you in a minute. Bye. Hung up. My parents live out in the boonies. Like way out there. Like you don't accidentally get to that house. So I get out there and I'm like, hey, man, I want to let you know. I forgive you for not being my dad, not fathering me. I forgive you. And we prayed together. I prayed for him. I prayed for my mom. And that was it. And that, like you're talking about, most of the time they go, well, you need this medication to kind of help you get through that, And then you find out, golly, there's all these side effects. I'm more messed up than I was when I started, Shoot, I'm all jacked up in my head, And so after that, my dad told me like probably a year or two later, he was like, John, I want you to know that all the men that came back from the Vietnam War, we never lived our life up or down. We just were there emotionally. And I'm just going to let you know we were just kind of existed. Our brains were just fried from the stuff that we did, stuff that we saw, and how we were treated when we came back. And that was another thing that really helped me go, man, old boy just kind of sat there, like he could have went off the rails. Like he could have just left our family, but he just stayed there. And even though it may have looked stagnant or complacent, he just stayed. Like, my mom and dad been married for like almost 60 years. Yeah. Well, yeah, over 50 something. So I just thought to myself, wow, maybe the Lord told him, hey, just stay. And he hung on to that word for as long as I know, So listening hasn't been a great part of my life. We were talking about that this morning. Kids, I hope and pray my kids live to serve the Lord all the days of their life. And I'm sure my mom did the same. I'm sure she hoped that too. And I went out there, tore it up. Yeah.
It doesn't say honor good parents, like Rick Joyner likes to say. It doesn't say good parents or bad parents.
Right.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And that's, because it's easy to honor the good ones. It's different to honor the other ones. Oh gosh. So listening and obeying, honestly, I've had a lot of people give me a lot of words, and some of them I received and some of them I didn't. Just being real, I'm sure there's like this tight road in my life. And if you give the word just right, I'll receive it. And if you don't, it just didn't go down the road that I like, but eventually, what the Bible says, that the word doesn't go back to the Lord. It'll stay around you until your road opens up, And as your life gets hard, your road opens up and you're like, all right, I'm willing to receive, and then, there you are. I've had the Lord really offend me, and I think that's good. I needed to be offended. I think offense is viewed as bad. It's really a good thing. It'll get your attention. Offense will get a hold of you and it will put some light bulbs inside. And the only thing that sucks about offense is you have to respond at some point because it gets really bad. Like I went from offense to bitterness, to resentment, to hate, over the course of some time. But what's wild to me is how much we love each other. And I don't even, how many times I've talked on the phone to my daddy? Probably 6 times. And I'm 42 years old. That's a lot. We don't talk on the phone. When I see him in person, we talk, we'll sit there and chew fat, whatever, talk about nothing. But one day he grabbed me and I was supposed to leave. He kissed me on the cheek, And let me tell you something. I can tell you on my 2 hands how many times he told me he loved me. I remember one time when I was 9 years old. So, you know what I mean? There's just men are kind of different. They don't show emotions, but I knew that there's a deep love there because there was deep offense. There was deep hurt, deep pain. But to me, that's where love comes in because that booger's all broken up. The heart's all broken up. So, I've had to have the Lord tell me several times, to do things, to listen. Hey, John, hey, listen what I'm saying. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, and to me, it's mercy when he reminds me because I try to write what I can down. And I used to think years ago that he was up there with this really skinny switch, and whopping me upside the head. And I was like, I'm going to put a helmet on because I know I'm going to get whooping a lot, But he's not like that. He's not whooping and whipping and waiting and got that long finger on you. But he does want you to listen. And that's what we need. If we listen to him, we're listening to all these other voices. I think about all the voices that I listen to in a week. Fear and worry are 2 big voices, mainly because of my job. I mean, there are times when I'm walking out of the door and worry says, this is the last time you walk out of this house. And it's a real voice. It's a real loud, very clear voice. And I pay homage to it sometimes, you know. And then sometimes I'm in the truck and we're driving fast, and these trucks weigh 50 to 70,000 pounds. And I'm like, God, I hope I don't have a flat, and fear's talking, So I pay homage to a lot of voices during the week. But if I'm not paying homage to listening to the Lord and listening to what he's saying, then I'm not growing. I'm not growing in my relationship with him. And then I can't hear him a whole bunch. And when I hear him, I cling to it because usually it's not what I'm doing, or it's not like I manufacture. You know how I don't know about you if y'all used to do this, but I thought you could manufacture the Lord's voice. You get your music going, and you kind of get on your knees or whatever, and you kind of wrestle him into talking to you. All right, what are you gonna say? And one time he told me, just relax. And I was like, that's not spiritual. That's not the Lord, And sometimes he just want to sit with me. And that would drive me nuts because I'm not conjuring up anything to get him to talk. And so I was like, you mean this relationship is like relationships here? Same thing. Same thing. I don't know if y'all ever been sick or whatever, and you're at home and nobody's around and you're just kind of bummed out. And, I've done that, poor, pitiful me. Oh, all you have is me. All you're going to do is talk to me now, and that's okay, But that voice is where I want to always stay. That's just the thing that keeps me going straight. And it makes me want more, The things that we have today, I don't know about y'all, but they make me so unsatisfied and so bored. Just so bored. Just no life at all. I'm like, let's go do something, Let's go get into something, Yeah, he's been asking me lately to lay down my planning skills and reasoning skills. Oh, I love these skills. These are good skills. Very, very, let's see. There's no surprises, right? We like to control the uncontrolled, We have a saying at work. We are managing the chaos. And that's what we try to do. We try to manage the chaos. But to me, the chaos is good. It's a good thing. It manifests me. It makes me uncomfortable. And I like it. But I don't like it, and I like it. So, I don't know. There's a story that I wanted to bring up. It really speaks to me, and I hope it speaks to you. The story is, a father tells his son, hey, son, I just want you to know that in life, there are going to be streets and roads, and sometimes the bridge is going to be out. Well, the son says, okay, Dad, I hear you. So he decides, hey, this route in life, Dad, I'm going to take. And the father says, well, I just want you to know that up ahead, the bridge is going to be out. The son says, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and take that road anyway. So, of course, the son takes the road and, he gets all the way up there, and thank God he stops just in time to slide off the edge. And the father says, hey, son, just wanted you to know that the bridge was out, but I'm here to help you get back on the road. And a guy told me in Mississippi this story, and the same is true for us. The Lord tells us, hey, if you keep heading this way, the bridge is going to be out. And he doesn't say that he's not going to help us when the bridge is out. He just lets us know that where we're going, what we think the outcome is not going to be the outcome. And I've had so many moments like that where I'm headed in a direction and I think, well, the outcome, according to my calculations and my reasoning and all of the other things that I could figure in to my Albert Einstein brain that I think I have, This is what it's going to look like. But when I get there, I'm like, this is dumpster fire. This is nothing like I thought it was going to be. I've wasted all this money. I've wasted all this time. And the Lord just says, okay, let's go another way. Let's go a different direction. So I don't know if that's ever happened to y'all, but it's probably just happened to me. I think I broke the mic. Oh, there we go. Oh, look at there. See, I was estimating that you just keep pulling this thing and eventually it just came apart, right? Thank you very much. Let's give Tom a hand. All right. Now that prepped us for the next part. Struggle is the Lord. I know it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I wish I had a better word. Everything is faith anyway. It's all faith. The struggle is the Lord. I have fought the struggle my whole life. I hope the struggle would end one day. But I can tell you what, I've been working since I was 15, and the struggle has been in my life every week, even when I was selling drugs. Can you believe that? I wasn't paying taxes, and the struggle was still there. So at the high, at the low, the struggle's there, okay? I'm sorry. So the good thing is the struggle brings us to the Lord. And the Lord is in the struggle. I used to think, gosh, I'm struggling because the Lord's not here with me. No, the Lord is here, and he gave me the struggle. He told me one day, quit fighting me. I said, I'm not fighting you, I'm fighting the enemy. He said, no, you're saying that I'm the enemy. Gosh. All right. So it's all faith anyway. Next 4 hours of your life are faith. You believe that you're going to live for the next 4 hours. That is faith. You believe. We have plans. I have plans on my calendar to December 30th. I do. I have them on there. They are set in stone. I'm going to be there, right? It's faith. The only way that this is not faith is the things that I see when I'm at work. These people that I pick up have plans. They don't have plans to ride with me. They never planned on calling me. They never planned on taking a little ride. People that are in good health, people that they're just everyday Joes. And then 4 hours later, we're trying to keep them alive. So it's all faith, no matter what. So if we say, hey, I don't have any faith, we all have faith. We have got more faith than a mustard seed. If you got plans on your calendar till Christmas and you got presents under your tree, you got some faith. I'm telling you right now. So that's it. That's all we have to have, really. And we have more faith than I think we realize. So I'll ask you this. Yeah.
My aunt she lives up in Cook, Texas, and she hasn't had a cold, not a sniffle, nothing, in 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm.
She's always been so proud of that. Well, she's got leukemia. And she said, well, I've lived my life. I know where I'm going. I know my change of address, no big deal. And they gave her 3 months. She's already at 6. And she's not doing any or nothing. She just said, I'm old and this is the way we're going to go.
She ain't worried about it.
But it just to me, it's like she hadn't been sick in so many years, not even a little bit. And just, this is the way she's leaving the world.
Isn't that wild? That's the thing that we can't control. That bothers me. That we don't know how we'll exit. And we don't know when. I mean, I've seen some people that I didn't think it was their time. I'll just tell you, there was a call that went out the other day, 6-month-old baby. I mean, man, to me, that's early, brother. I'm just going to tell you, it's hard for me to come to grips with stuff like that. But that's what we live in. So to me, every day is important. Every moment, you know. And I kind of go crazy, you know. Sometimes at the house, the kids are like, "Chill out." I'm like, "Give me a hug," you know. But it's what I do, you know. And in my mind, I'm like, it keeps me being a good dad. You know, that keeps me doing the right thing. I don't want to wait until tomorrow. Hey, man, good to see you. Hey, I love you. You know, whatever. You know, I try and when I get off the phone, the kids have learned to do it too. Hey, love you. Bye. You know, that's it. That's just how I roll. And I've said it to people on accident before. And I'm like, oh, I'll text them. Oh, I'm sorry. You know, sorry about that. You know, bad habit. I mean, it's a good habit, but, you know, you got to be careful. But you know what I think about just different weeks and you know whatever. What did the Lord say? What has He said to me? What are things that He's told me to do that I haven't done? And and even though I think I do everything that He says. When I think about stuff like that, I can find a list where other things have gained priority, you know, and the things that He has told me, which are not so exciting sometimes. Believe it or not, you know, they're down here, you know. So I have to take these things and move them up here, you know. They say New Year's resolutions. I'm just not a New Year's resolution. I'm always doing resolutions every week or month or whatever, you know. I'm always trying to put His stuff up here and my stuff down here. And that's a battle, right? We are really blessed to have Pastor Brad, Pastor David speaking all the time to us about the same thing. Some other, you know, places they have series that are great, nothing against them, but they fluff, they make us feel good. And I think feeling good's not that great, you know. Now I'm all about being happy and enjoying yourself, and you don't go out here and beat yourself in the parking lot in the head or something. But you know, like hearing the truth, it will put you on that path. So that's what is the Spirit saying? What's the Lord saying? Um, the other part of this is going to be amazing. It really is going to be good. Resting in the Lord. Oh, I love to do that. Do y'all love that? Ooh, it's great, man. Paisley's resting in the Lord right now. She don't even know it. But it's a good thing. This is what he told me the other day when I had to rest. I didn't like it. He said, I've seen what you can do. Now watch what I'll do. Oh, I got excited. But I got nervous too, because you know what that means? I can't do anything else. Yeah, I come to the end of my doings, right? You ever tried to just do it all? Yeah. Oh, it's great, huh? Does it feel awesome? You ever reach you just never achieve what you think you can do. That's the Lord too. It's great. It's wonderful. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. The good thing is we're going right into a new one. I think we're already in a new one according to another calendar. Oh, the Chosen series gets me. You know, I do get a chance every once in a while to watch this, and I think we talked about this before, but the actor was on an interview, and they said, when you get to heaven, what do you think would be something said to you? And he said, well, I would just imagine the question that I would want to know is, how did I do? And this question is haunting to me. With the life that you gave me, the people that you put in my life, and the revelation you gave me, not navel gazing, not focusing on me whatsoever, but how did I steward your Spirit? How did I steward your word to me? How did I do? Like, no condemnation. How'd I do? I mean, I feel like I have some wins in the weeks, you know, but what's weird is sometimes my wins aren't his wins. His wins are, hey, John, you didn't honk at anybody driving home from work. That's a win. And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, you see, you're being molded and you didn't even know it. But that keeps my pride down because he doesn't really tell me my wins, you know. And that's a good thing. But every once in a while, like I was talking about, hey, Christine, why don't you give me some encouragement? She was like, yeah, well, whatever. Sometimes we don't need it because it'll puff us up. We'll be like, yeah, man, I'm killing it. I'm killing it in this husband thing. You know how you can figure out if you're killing it in the husband or wife area? You just say, hey, how am I doing? Woo, you talk about, hold on, let's put the kids to bed. I'll tell you how you're doing. I'll give you a revelation. Ooh, don't do that. I'm telling you. Just act like you know what you're doing. Oh, I'm killing this thing. It's great. Yeah, it's wonderful. What a blessing. Yeah. Galatians. Hey, every once in a while, Holly will put on there that Jordan is killing it. It's amazing. I mean, this guy's got it going on. And I'm like, he must have stole her phone. They should do a marriage conference. When you go to the Facebook and say, "Ooh, he's doing good." I was like, wait till Holly sees that. He's sleeping in the chicken house.
No, she likes the chicken.
She ain't gonna put them chickens in danger like that. Lord help. He's sleeping in the pool. Yeah. Hey, that'll work too. I've slept in the back seat of my car. I'm telling you right now, ain't nothing wrong with it. Shoot. We got to read some scripture. This is church now, so we got to read some scripture. We don't want to get in trouble. I have to put the religion on it. Yes. Galatians 5:16. Have y'all ever heard this scripture? You know what I think about when I read it to y'all? I know what this means. I'm just being real. I'm just telling you. Oh, yeah, walk in the Spirit. So, yeah. It's really hard, though. That's what it says. Walk in the Spirit, right? And you shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. But it feels good to do that. But if you walk in the Spirit, you're going to feel good walking in the Spirit because you're dying to yourself and your flesh. The flesh lusts against the Spirit and the Spirit against the flesh. These are contrary to one another, so that you do not do the things that you wish. That's it. I could stop right there, and I don't even want to read anymore. Because I have things I wish to do. There are things I like to do. I want to go get a big old 4-wheeler, huge, and kill a huge buck, day or night. Just kill a big one. But, one day I'll be able to fulfill that wish. But just not right now. I can't take the kids' Christmas money and go buy a 4-wheeler. Just imagine on Christmas morning, what do we get? Daddy got a 4-wheeler. That would be hateful, wouldn't it? That would. I could manipulate the flesh. I could manipulate it where I could see how this is working out. I don't even have to die to my flesh. I like this. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. Yeah. Now the works of the flesh are evident, which are adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lewdness, idolatry, sorcery, hatred, contentions, jealousy, outbursts of wrath. I have never done an outburst of wrath, especially when you're tailgating me. Selfish ambitions, dissensions, heresies, envies, murders, drunkenness, revelries, and the like, of which I told you beforehand, just as I also told you in the time past, that those who practice such things will not inherit the kingdom of God. But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. So about 3 weeks ago, I told Christine, I was like, hey, the Lord told me that we need to start reading just that one scripture right there and focus on that. Not focus on a marriage devotional, not focus on this or that. Just read that and try to be love, joy, peace, long-suffering to each other. To each other. And it's really hard, I'll tell you what. It's really tough. The long-suffering part is tough for me. I'm just going to tell you. Because when I get ready to leave out of the door, I'm like, hey, where are you at? Oh, I'll be there in about 30 minutes. 30 minutes? That's eternity. You're slow as the Lord. And it drives me crazy. And I told her, and the Lord got me one day. He goes, hey, I put her with you to sharpen you. And I said, oh, whoops. So I don't.
Actually, it's this word there. I was reading that, and it's like long suffering. What is that? Time plus pain.
Oh, great pain.
And like you said, suffering is the Lord.
It is. And you know you're suffering when you're sitting in the car watching the time and you're like, hurry up. That is suffering. You know what would be better is getting out of the car and helping her get stuff together. And I did that. Listen, this is great. I did that before, and she's like, I know what I need. Just let me take care of it. Now I have to watch the clock by myself again. So it's good. It's good. Yeah. Anyways. Again, there is no law, and those who are Christ have crucified the flesh. So he assumes that we have crucified the flesh. Man, I wait for him to speak to me on how to do that. I already know how to do it. I just say, well, you haven't told me to do that yet. Well, I should have already done it, right? That's what he already thinks I've done that. Yeah, 17 years ago when I was like, Lord, I give you my life. That meant, hey, Lord, I'm going to crucify my flesh every day. Okay. Yeah, you just accept it. And when that comes up where you want to go buy the four-wheeler instead of buy kids stuff, you just, hey, let it go. So if we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Let us not become conceited, provoking one another, envying one another. That if you have any social media account, that envying one another is hard. It just is. You know, it really is. You have to battle with that thing. Man, they look like they're living the life. They are. In that picture, they are. But I like social media just to see how you doing. But it's not as good as seeing your face. It's not as good. It's just not the same. And it never will be. Thank God. Next chapter talks about bearing each other's burdens. And I think that would be a great place to be. Just being together with each other. Hey, so-and-so is sick. Oh, cool. I mean, not cool, but, hey, let's pray for them until they get better. I remember somebody told me a long time ago, hey, when you find out that somebody's in need, pray for them until you hear that the need is met. Just keep going. And I was like, well, that's kind of religious. But it's really not. You're joining with them, bearing their burden. Like you're walking with them. You're long suffering with them. I mean, you're not like always checking on them, but you should. Hey, let's walk this thing out. I've had several friends that I've had to walk with, and there's several that have walked with me, and they've prayed for me, and I've come out of all these different seasons, and I've gotten to see the same thing happen to other people, whether it be they were doing drugs, whether they're on alcohol, or whatever the case was, or, hey, we want to get a house together. Boom. Just stuff like that. I mean, I think that's awesome, just walking together with each other in each season. This one really did get me. So the Lord will speak to your worries and your fears. He talks to them through you. It's kind of funny. It's like you're the middleman, and but worry was talking to me really good. I have a friend named Worry and a friend named Fear, and I shouldn't have these friends because they do me no good, right? They just lead me away from Jesus, right? So Worry was telling me, hey, you're not going to be able to do this or that and blah, 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 which that's great. That means the Lord's going to do it. How confusing is Worry trying to make me, right? And the Lord says, John, you know one thing about worry? And I said, I don't know one thing about worry, because worry is, to me, has no flaws, right? Worry doesn't understand my intervention or the providence that I have. I said, wow, now that is something else. So worry looks at something and projects, I am not going to be able to do the thing that I'm needed to do. But we haven't even gotten to that date yet, right? You know, and worry is a real big old deal, you know, because it looks at things and says, I'm going to be lacking, or this is probably not going to happen like it needs to happen, or like God told me it was going to happen, right? But what's weird is when you get there, he's already intervened and you're not even thinking about it anymore. I don't remember who it was. Maybe it was D.L. Moody. He said, worry is thinking about the future without God. And I was like, yeah, you're exactly right. You are not even thinking about the Lord. And your mind is occupied by fear and worry, you know. He's going to get it all, right, Miss Pat? He wants the mind, the heart, and the feet and arms, right? He's going to get the whole truck.
Crazy thing is that we believe all things work for good. We really believe that, and that worry is actually a seed. You put it across the goes in the ground. What you said, it does exactly the opposite of what it wants to do, which is a seed for him. Life only comes through death, and that worry can be an opportunity
To die.
Life to come out of it.
Yeah. Worry hates that too. It hates that it's used to build faith in Jesus.
Right.
That's amazing. Only God could do that, right?
Yeah.
Oh, Lord. Your life demands the Lord to visit you. Your mind and your heart and your spirit need relief or breakthrough, whatever you want to call it. But when the death happens, the Lord comes, and sometimes he brings peace. Sometimes he brings an idea. Sometimes he reminds you what he already told you. When you're in these moments of, oh, well, this or that, or the struggle, or whatever you're going through, it's bringing you down to, hey, the Lord told me this is what's going to happen. And it builds your faith, and it teaches you to walk with him. And really, the only way you can die is to choose to die. He can't force you. He's not. That wouldn't even be love at all. If you were forced to do something, that's just a robot, you know. You ever got a robot phone call? I get them all the time. Hi, this is Annette with Medicaid. And I'm like, hey, Annette, I need to get a four-wheeler. Can you use my Medicaid and give me a four-wheeler? And they hang up. I did get in trouble the other day for doing that. Yeah. Let your struggles bring you to the Lord. We are so very strong people. We don't like to be weak, right? But let your struggles bring you to the Lord. I'm not saying that, man, I hope you guys struggle. But if you are hanging out with the Lord, there's nothing else that's better. Whether you're in a good place or bad place, you're healthy, you're sick, whatever, allow the Lord to be birthed in your weakness. Because I believe that's where we can make room for him. Right there in that spot. I don't know. I feel like that, to me, that's what he's talking to me for however long, I guess, until I figure it out or until I get it, which probably be when I'm gone, right? Because we're always doing this wrestling match, right? And Pastor Brad said we're wrestlers, right? Jacob wrestling with the Lord. I don't know about y'all, but I wrestle with everybody, right? Get over here, you know. The other day I was like, you know, my wife really is for me. I don't have to fight her. Isn't that wild that the enemy gets in there and makes you think, I got to fight her? She's against me. I said, do you know that we've been together for longer? I mean, in my brains, I'm like, this is the Lord, because I've never had anything good, you know. When we first got married, I told her, I am so used to destruction, sweet pea. I'm telling you, ashes is all I know. And I don't even know what I'm doing. So just help me along the way. Talk about long suffering. That joker there has had to do some long suffering. So just think that we've brought each other to the Lord at times. Marriage, I think this was in a book I found at a Bible school when I was in Bible school. And it said marriage is essentially two people dying so one person can be formed. Whew. Who's going to die? Hopefully it's both. Yeah. Well, let's sing a bunch of songs. Anybody got anything? Going once? Sold.
So this is going back to what you said earlier about forgiveness and piggybacking off of what Holly also shared. So 2 days ago, something that someone shared hit me like a ton of bricks that I wish I would have heard years ago. They said, it's easier to get treatment. No, it's easier to get treatment than to ask for forgiveness. It's easier to take meds than ask for forgiveness. It's easier to go to addiction than ask for forgiveness. It's like something that's so simple that, you know, when you're in it, you don't like realize that it's unforgiveness that's holding you.
Yeah. That sucker's a booger. Yeah. The excuses are what kill us. They do. I remember one time the Lord said, John, I came to eliminate your excuses. And that's it. They do. All the good reasons why. I'm not going to call them and apologize or whatever. Yeah. Pride. It's terrible.